Hey, thank you for watching this complete Excel and data tables tutorial with UiPath. My name is Tom and you're watching Tom's Tech Academy. In this tutorial you're going to learn everything about using Excel and data tables in UiPath. We're going to fetch a data table from Excel, we're going to build an entirely new data table, we're going to check for redundant rows and remove them, we're going to sort data, filter data, and at the end we're going to write back our data table to Excel. This is a beginner's tutorial, everyone can follow it just by looking over my shoulder. Let's dive right into UiPath. This tutorial works best if you code with me. And if you want to code with me, you're going to need some example files. So navigate to rpa-unlimited.com, then scroll below, click on navigate to the YouTube example applications and course material. And then this is the one you need, UiPath Excel Data Tables Tutorial. So click open course material and then download all the files. And in this directory you will find the Excel files as well as the UiPath XAML files. So if for some reason you cannot follow along, you can always take a look at my code. Let's go to that directory. And those are the Excel files that we're going to use in this tutorial. And you will see that we have students here. They all have a number, a first name, a last name, and they're all assigned to a specific course. You see we have course 1 and course 2. I can find these courses here in the courses tab. So 1 is microeconomics and 2 stands for mathematics 1. Now you see that there is also a course name here, but that course name is not filled. I'm going to start with a VLOOKUP to fill those courses. Then there is also a cohort here. Then there is a second file. The structure is exactly the same, but with different students. You see as well that the student numbers are a bit mixed. So we're going to merge all those students together in one file, and then we're going to filter them based on the student number. Okay, let's navigate to UiPath and let's make a start with this. And the first activity that we're going to need is an Excel process scope. And that's this one. Every time you interact with one or multiple Excel files, you're going to need an Excel process scope. So drag it to the middle. And the first thing we're going to do, so UiPath can connect with Excel in two ways. It can open the physical application, just like I did, to view in it, but it can as well connect with the API. And I'm going to disable Show Excel Window. So click on Show Excel Window and then click on False. So that will make sure that UiPath doesn't physically open Excel and that has some performance benefits. Then for every Excel file you want to use, we're going to use an Use Excel file. This one, drag it in the Excel process scope here in the do box. And then you can select the file that you would like to use. So I'm going to navigate to Input. And I'm going to click on Students 1. Now you see that there is a reference mentioned here, which is called Excel. If you're using multiple Excel files, I would definitely change this. So let's call this one Students 1. And then we're going to search for the VLOOKUP. And every time you are using a VLOOKUP, you need a for each. So I'm going to use the for each Excel row, put it here, and then drag the VLOOKUP in it, like this. First of all, our Excel file has headers, you've seen it, so enable has headers. And in range, that's students, and that's then students. Because we're gonna loop through all the students. You see it's referring to students 1, and this is exactly the same reference that we have also used here. Then the value to look up is current row, and that's course. In range, so where does it need to look this up? In the courses tab. And the column index, so this is the number of the column. So the first column is 1, the second column is 2, etc. So I'm going to click on Open in Advanced Editor and I'm going to put a 2 here. And where does it need to save this value? So the value that it got from column number 2, it needs to save that into the course name. Okay, so that's the for each and the VLOOKUP. So after that's done, I want to read this range and I want to store it in a data table. So put the read range, just put it here below the blue table. And the range that we want to read is students 1, students, because now all the data is in the students tab. And we want to save that. So just click here and press Ctrl K. And then we're going to store that in DT, students 1. And DT stands for data table. Okay, so that's our first Excel file, but we also have a second one. So I'm just going to use another Use Excel file here. Use Excel. And I'm going to refer to the second file students2.x. And this reference, let's change this to students2. Should never be the same as the first one. And I'm gonna look for each Excel row. For each Excel row, put it here. For each current row in range, students to students. And of course, don't forget to enable has headers. And in the for each, I'm gonna look for a VLOOKUP again. Put that here. Okay. Value to look up current row. So that's the course. In range. We're gonna search for it in the courses. And the column index is exactly the same, that's 2. And save to, that's current row, course name. Okay, and the last activity I need to add is the read range. This one. And that needs to be below the for each, but still in the use Excel file. So let's put that here. The range is students, and save to Ctrl K, DT, students2. And if you go to the variables, you will see that those two variables have now automatically been created. So let's call this one main. Let's go back to the two variables that we have created, DT students, and let's change the scope to main. And the same for this one. From sequence to main. Okay, then we're gonna add another activity, and we're gonna do that in the Excel process scope still, but below the other activity. And I'm gonna use a build data table, this one. So put it here, still in the blue square. And the data table that I'm gonna build is gonna have the same structure as the data in these Excel files. So I'm gonna start with student number. So the first string is not column 1, but student number. And the second one, I'm gonna change this integer to a string. And this is gonna be first name. Let's add another column. And that's gonna be last name. Course, cohort, and course name. Okay, so this is our data table, and we're going to store all the data from all these Excel files in this data table and merge it with the other data. So click OK. And we're going to call this data table, just click here, Ctrl K, DT, all students. And the scope is as well main. Now in the next step, we're going to merge the data table. So search for merge data table. And I'm going to merge the data from DT students1 to DT all students. And I'm also going to do that with the second data table. So DT students2 to DT all students. And just to be sure, I also want to remove duplicate rows. So search for this activity, remove duplicate rows. Put it here. Okay, the data table we're using in remove duplicate rows is DT all students. And be careful because you also need to define an output data table. And that's this one, and that's also going to be DT all students. In those kind of activities, you can as well save the output in another data table. So make sure you select this one as well. Then I also want to add a filter on this data table because I only want to keep students from cohort 2022. So search for filter data table, this one, drag it below. The data table that we are going to use is DT all students. And the filter data table, or the output, is as well going to be DT all students. Then let's configure our filter. So you can choose whether to keep or remove rows. I'm going to keep rows which have cohort is equal to 2022. Click OK. And then I also want to sort those students. So I'll look for sort data table, put it here. Then the data table is dt all students, and that's as well our output data table, dt all students. And then you can choose how you want to choose the column. So you can provide a column, the index, or the name of the column. And I'm going to provide the name. So that's student a number. And then you can choose for ascending or descending. Ascending is from low to high, descending is from high to low. So I'm going to choose ascending. Then let's use another use Excel file. This one, put it below. And the Excel file I want to use is output.xlsx. Then there is one more thing that we need to do, and that's writing our data table to Excel. And that's this activity. Put this one in the use Excel file. What to write? dt all students. And the destination, click on the plus symbol, Excel. And let's go for sheet 1. Press save and let's run our robot. Let's open the Excel file. And you see that we only have students from cohort 2022. One of the students has been removed. We have the course names, we have the first name, the last names, and the students' numbers are sorted ascending. I hope you were able to build this bot together with me. If not, just take a look at my code. And I hope this video was useful for you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up, and I see you back in the next video.